guys, welcome back to my channel. As you can see, I am rocking the messy mom bun and the house sweater. We're in a I don't care type of mood this morning. I've been sick for about 2 weeks, maybe more. On my second round of antibiotics. Have a heck of a headache this morning, but this morning I'm coming to you with a video that I have seen floating around the YouTube world, the Controversial Parent Tag. That's right. We are going to talk about some of my opinions on some of these controversial questions here. And I make no apologies for my opinions. My opinions are just that. They are my opinions. So feel free to follow along, comment below, keep it polite and classy and adult-like, and let's dive into this. So if you see me looking down, it is because I'm looking at my handy-dandy sheet of questions. So let's dive in, shall we? The first question, pro-life versus pro-choice. Well, I kind of have a mixed opinion about this. For myself, I am pro-life. If you would have talked to me even 5 years ago, I would have given you a completely different answer. I would have been pro-choice all the way. Age has mellowed me out some. But in general, I believe that a woman should have the right to choose what happens to her body if she's raped, if she has a very serious health condition where she could be lost in the process of carrying a child. I believe she has the right to make that decision about her body. That is her decision. I don't believe that the government should be able to take that away from her. Pardon my dog in the background. My German Shepherd has decided she is going to play with her rawhide bone on the linoleum floor this morning and make a whole bunch of noise just as I'm filming. Xena, go lay down. Sorry about that. All right, moving on to question number 2, baby wearing. I am pro baby wearing. I did not really discover baby wearing until my youngest came about, who is now 5. But I wore her a lot. I mean, hands free to be able to do things but still bond with your baby. I am pro baby wearing. Circumcision. I do have a son. He is my oldest, and he is circumcised. A lot of people throw a lot of hate around for this subject because they call it mutilation and whatnot. People circumcise for all different reasons. I circumcised for the cleanliness issue. That was mine. I mean, people do it for religious reasons, other reasons, but that was my reason. I make no apologies for it. He's happy. He's healthy. He's 14. He doesn't even remember it. He's good. Adoption. I am pro-adoption. I am the oldest of 3 kids, and my youngest brother is adopted. He was adopted from Korea when I was 9. So I am pro-adoption. It was a wonderful experience. Though my brother and I are not very close because we have such a vast age difference between us and I'm always in a different stage of my life than he is, adoption's a very beautiful thing. So I'm pro-adoption. Baby piercing. I am anti-baby piercing. I do not believe that you should put holes in babies' ears unless they can ask you for it and understand what they're asking for. And now my dog is sitting at my feet chewing on sudded rawhide. She's gone from dropping it on the floor to chewing loudly over here. But yeah, I would never pierce my baby's ears. I know you're saying, but you circumcised your son. I don't know why. I just feel very differently about it. My middle daughter She did not get her ears pierced until she was 6. When she was old enough to ask her father and I if she could pierce her ears and understand what she was asking for. We have the same policy with my youngest, who will be turning 6 in April. She has already been asking to pierce her ears, and so we are considering it. I think it's a case-by-case basis. I know that my middle daughter was mature enough to take care of the piercings when she got them, like cleaning her ears out and making sure that it didn't get infected and all that stuff. I'm not sure if my youngest is at that same place when she'll be turning 6 in April, so we'll have to see. Breastfeeding versus formula feeding. I have no problem with breastfeeding. None whatsoever. All of my kids were formula fed. And that is because with my oldest, I was very well endowed up top. I was, 5'3", and pre-pregnancy, I was a 38 triple D. When I got pregnant with him, I got up to an F. That is a lot of stuff to carry around. So I let my supply dry up with him because I just couldn't handle carrying all that extra weight, and he was formula fed. Before I had my middle daughter, I had a breast reduction. I went down from like a 38 triple D to a C. I would have gone double A if they would have let me. I would have been completely flat chested. I was an early bloomer, so unfortunately with the massive amount of tissue that they did have to remove, they did have to reposition my nipples, and therefore they severed most of my milk ducts, so I really don't make a supply. So I would have been more open to breastfeeding my younger two. However, I didn't really create a supply of milk, so I really couldn't breastfeed. So all 3 of my kids were formula fed. They all turned out just fine. We're good. Spanking. This is a hot button issue. It's a very hot button issue, but I will tell you what, my husband and I are old school, and we spank our kids. Now, it is not the first punishment that I resort to when I discipline my children, but in certain circumstances, a couple of swats on the butt to get their attention and snap them back into reality, there's nothing wrong with that. It's not going to damage their psyche. In fact, I wish more people would spank their children or actually give a crap and pay attention to their children. These days, there are not enough people paying attention to their children. We, unfortunately, are raising a generation of self-entitled little monsters. I cannot tell you the amount of just unacceptable behavior I see from children when I'm out and about, either by myself or with my family. We have instilled rules and things that we live by in our children at an early age. I don't believe in moving your things so that they don't touch them and break them. You teach them not to touch them. I don't believe in sitting them in front of a TV all day and letting them, letting the electronics babysit your children. I'm just not that type of parent. I know people will say, well, you shouldn't spank your kids. Well, you know what? I was spanked and I turned out just fine. Some of these kids that I see walking around today where their parents have no clue how to handle the little monsters that they've created and let all these bad behaviors fester, they need a whooping. Not like beating. I am not condoning beating your children. There is a difference between spanking and beating. But they need to be spanked. Enough said. I'm going to move on because it's a subject I'm passionate about. Let's just say that anytime I take my 3 children out in public, I get multiple compliments about how well behaved, polite, and just overall pleasant my 3 children are. One word for you: discipline. Co-sleeping. No. I am never in favor of co-sleeping. I roll around too much. I'm a heavy sleeper. I believe that my husband and I need our own space. We need an environment that's just ours, as well as the baby needing an environment that's just theirs. I don't want to start co-sleeping with a baby and then when they're 10, they're still wanting to crawl in my bed and go to sleep. So yeah, I mean, it may be harsh, but they have a crib, they have a nursery. There's a reason for that. They have their own space just as I have my own space, so I don't co-sleep and I don't believe in co-sleeping. Homeschooling versus public schooling versus private schooling. If you can homeschool, more power to you. I just can't do that. It's not something I'm interested in. I was a product of the public school system. My husband was a product of a private school system. Both have their benefits, both have, their challenges. But overall, I think when you're looking at a public school, you need to shop around. Look at, the districts, look at their numbers, look at where they're ranked, look at their test scores, do your research. I don't think any of the 3 options is a bad option, whatever works for your family. But I'm just saying I got a really good education. My kids are going to school in the same district that I attended. They go to public school, and they're getting a phenomenal education. They're well-rounded, wonderful children. So I don't see anything wrong with public school. My husband is, a wonderful educated man, and he had a private school experience and he was just fine too. I've met other people that were homeschooled that had a wonderful experience and they were well educated. They've made such advancements in homeschooling today that, any option is feasible. So I say more power to you, whatever is best for your family. My other hot button topic: vaccinations. Let me just say that the diseases that are coming back today in this day and age were eradicated for a reason. Vaccinate your kids. They're not going to get autistic because they were vaccinated. They're not going to get whatever mumbo jumbo disease that any celebrity said their kids got because they got vaccinated. There is a reason for these vaccinations. There are people out there, such as infants that are too young to get vaccinated, people that have cancer or other autoimmune diseases that cannot get vaccinated, that count on people like us to vaccinate ourselves and our children so that everybody is safe. That is all I'm going to say about that. I mean, if you are not vaccinating, I personally, in my opinion, believe that you are highly irresponsible. But then again, it's a personal choice. I mean, I know that there are people out there that don't vaccinate because of religious reasons. That's their choice. But if you're not vaccinating just to not vaccinate because you're terrified that your kid's going to end up with something, would you rather they end up with polio? Just saying. Medicating your children is another hot button topic with me. There are kids out there that need to be medicated. I completely, wholeheartedly agree with that. But I believe, just like the vaccinations, the restricting certain things from diets and all these food allergies, this is a trend. You're medicating your kids because you don't want to deal with them because you're not disciplining them. In the majority of cases, in my opinion. I know it's a strong opinion. I know it's a harsh opinion. But that's what I believe. I believe that the majority of children out there don't need these medications, all these pills these doctors are having these kids pop. It's a matter of not taking the time to fully discipline your child, to parent them properly. There are a lot of parents out there that just are overwhelmed and they need help. Ask for help. As Hillary Clinton said, it takes a village. So, I mean, that's just my opinion. I believe that medication is widely overprescribed, just as kids with food allergies and intolerances are widely overdiagnosed. I just think it is. It's a phase. It's a craze. It's a fad. Whatever you want to call it. I just think that we really need to go back to our parents' and grandparents' roots and spend a little more time paying attention to our families. Cloth versus disposable. I've done both. I don't have the patience for cloth diapers, so I did disposable. I know that's irresponsible for the environment, but that's all I'm going to say about that. I just don't. The cloth diapering did not work for me. It was very tedious, and I applaud the people that can do that, but I also think they're way overpriced. And that's all I'm going to say about that. And the last topic on here is the cry it out method. I am in favor of cry it out to an extent. I am not going to let my kids sit in their crib and scream for a half hour. They do need to learn how to self-soothe. It is a natural thing that, every human being needs to learn. Am I going to let them sit there and scream for 20 minutes? Absolutely not. But I'm going to give them 5 to 10 minutes to see if they can settle themselves down. If after that point they're still going berserk, you best believe I'm going to go see what's wrong. Maybe they need to be changed. Maybe they need to be fed. Maybe they just need a hug. So, I'm not in favor of letting your kids scream and cry and just going in the other room and having a glass of wine and forgetting about them. But I am in favor of letting them try to soothe themselves to a point. There is a point when you have to go in there and say, hey, there's something else going on here if they're not going to, settle down and something's obviously wrong. So that is my take on the controversial parent tag. Please leave your polite thoughts down below. Let's not turn this into an argument. Let's, be civil. Let's be adults. We all have opinions and we can agree to disagree on things. So leave me your thoughts down below. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up. And if you want to see more videos from me, hit that red subscribe button down below if you're new here. And until next time, I'll see you later. Bye.